My sister came to visit this weekend and I immediately got promoted to a full-time private chef. She brought the vibes and the bananas, and I brought the meals: jam in the morning, some vegetables for lunch, an Ethiopian stew for dinner, and banana bread because apparently that is now tradition. It was cozy, exactly the kind of weekend that I love. I started my Saturday morning rescuing some strawberries and blackberries from their inevitable fate. Berries in my fridge always feel like a ticking time bomb, so I turn them into jam. I start by trimming them, then I toss them into a pot with some sugar and a squeeze of lemon and a little bit of vanilla paste. I'm not even measuring, this is just vibes. After a 15-minute simmer, I've got a thick, chunky jam that tastes like sunshine in a jar. For lunch, I leaned into my current personal mission, which is learning to love some vegetables. I ended up getting a bunch of broccoli rabe on sale, which was slightly intimidating because it didn't look like what I was familiar with. I'm following a recipe from a cookbook called 6 Seasons by Joshua McFadden. I started out by slicing fresh mozzarella and pressing it down between paper towels to dry out. Moisture is the enemy if you want melty cheese. Then it's time to use my salad spinner. The broccoli rabe gets chopped and washed and spun. I love watching this thing spin. Like, I could stand there all day just watching it spin. Time to make the sauce. In a pan, I heated up a generous amount of olive oil, and in goes some garlic and anchovies. I was supposed to kind of slow fry the garlic so it softens and I can melt it into the oil, but I ended up burning it. Had some issues with heat control here. And then goes the broccoli rabe, and that cooks and sautés for a little bit. And then I add the crushed tomatoes. That also gets to simmer for about 10 minutes, and then your sauce is ready to go into the casserole. So now it's added to the casserole and the cheese is layered right on top, topped a little bit of olive oil, and into the oven it goes at about 400 degrees for 15 minutes, and it's finished under the broiler. And finally, it's topped up with some Parmesan. I was nervous trying to cook broccoli rabe because I know that it could be bitter from my research. And I don't like bitter veg, but I think it's a really balanced dish because the tomato and the cheese really mellows out the bitterness. Anyway, I think this is a really good side dish. For dinner, I made some Doro Wat, which is an Ethiopian chicken and egg stew, and it's from the cookbook in Bibi's Kitchen, which is a beautiful collection of recipes from African grandmothers. I've had this book for a while and I've been eyeing it. It's a lot of approachable recipes. And I had some chicken drumsticks in my fridge that I had been trying to figure out what to do with it. It's really awkward when you just have one specific body part of the chicken, like a lot of it, and it's like, unless it's wings, then you know what to do with it. I also made some plantains on the side. I had been really dreaming of using this plantain, but when I came to make it, I realized half of it had gone bad. But we're not going to talk about that part. And now the sauce is going to come together really quick. It starts with a generous amount of ghee. In goes all the onions and the garlic and the ginger and the generous heap of the bear spice. I got mine from Farm Boy. I could have possibly made mine, but you know, we're picking the easy route here. And your kitchen is gonna smell incredible regardless. Once the onions have cooked down, I add in the chopped tomatoes, and that also gets to cook down. Then I add in some water, and in goes the drumsticks, and it gets to simmer close for about 45 minutes, where the eggs get added at the last 10. Anyway, this stew was everything. It was super warm and super comforting. The spice level was just right. Me and my sister really enjoyed it, and it was perfect for kind of like the rainy, gloomy weather that was outside. Sunday was mainly about leftovers and banana bread. My sister brought me some banana breads that were very, very ripe. She came with a plan. She wanted banana bread, and who am I to refuse? So I ended up using my favorite recipe, which is Joanne Chang's Flour Bakery's banana bread recipe. I like it because it's oil-based, so I don't need to cream any butter. And it uses sour cream, and the texture of the bread ends up staying pretty soft and moist, so it doesn't dry out over the span of like a week in the way I think most other banana breads have. The only downside is I have to pull out my stand mixer jack, because it really relies on heavily whipping the eggs and the sugar till it's super light before the mashed bananas are folded in. And I added a generous amount of chocolate because I can, because I will, I always will. And a bake like a dream. And yes, I will be using it as some French toast. If it lasts. Probably not though. But this is really yummy. And that was my weekend. Jam, some veggies, some stew, and banana bread. My fridge is full and my heart is happy. The recipes that I use where I can, I will link them in the description. And if you liked hanging out with me in the kitchen, please hit that subscribe button and like this video for more cozy cooking vibes. Also say hi in the comments. I'd love to hear what you made this weekend or what you're planning to make this weekend. Until next time, and bye guys.